The silence of a forgotten room is often filled with the screams of those who are no longer there. Many believe that the void left by a disappearance is simply an emptiness, a gap in the fabric of reality. But I have seen what fills that space. It is not peace. It is a chilling, hungry echo, a phantom limb of terror that twists and writhes in the corners of our perception. This is not a collection of mere stories. It is a summoning of spirits, a dredging of the abyssal depths where souls are lost and shadows reign. These are the tales that the sane world tries to bury, the narratives whispered on the wind from places where the veil between worlds has grown distressingly thin. Believing that the mundane explanation is always the truth is a dangerous delusion. I too, once, navigated the sunlit paths of reason, dismissing the spectral whispers as figments of an overactive imagination. Then came the visions, the cracking of mirrors that showed not my reflection, but the contorted faces of the eternally lost. The scent of cold ashes that clung to the air long after any fire had been extinguished. These were not random occurrences. They were messages, omens etched in the dark. They spoke of the spaces between moments, the voids where beings not of this earth feast on despair. The unraveling began subtly, a fraying at the edges of understanding. A friend vanished, not with a bang, but a whisper. One moment they were there, a vibrant spark. The next, only the faint, lingering scent of their favorite cologne, and an immense suffocating silence. The official report spoke of a voluntary departure, a mundane explanation to soothe the panicked. But I heard it, a dissonant chord beneath the surface of normalcy, a sound that resonated with the dread that had begun to bloom in my soul. This is the truth that remains unspoken, the kind that festers when denied. The stories you are about to hear are not fabrications of a fevered mind. They are echoes of shattered lives, fragments of souls ripped from their moorings by forces that defy rational explanation. Imagine a door creaking open in an empty house, not to reveal a draft, but a passage into an eternal twilight. These are the tales of those who stepped through such doors, willingly or not, and were never seen again. The shadows themselves seem to lengthen when these narratives are recounted, as if drawn to the potent energy of their despair. Consider the case of the hiker who ventured into the forbidden woods, a place locals avoided with a superstitious dread that bordered on religious fervor. He was an experienced outdoorsman, armed with knowledge and gear, yet he simply evaporated. No tracks, no signs of struggle, only his neatly packed backpack left by a tree, as if he had simply decided to shed his earthly burdens in a moment of profound, inexplicable transformation. The silence that followed his disappearance was heavier than any snowfall, a blanket of dread that smothered all hope. Now imagine that backpack. It's not just fabric and metal, it's a monument to a life that was abruptly halted. Within its confines, perhaps a half-eaten granola bar, a worn map, a photograph of loved ones. These are the mundane artifacts that scream of an extraordinary absence. They are the remnants of a story that was violently, irrevocably interrupted, leaving behind only questions that clawed the psyche, unanswered and forever festering. The forest itself seemed to hold its breath, a sentinel of secrets that would not yield. Days turned into weeks, and the search parties, their faces etched with a growing unease, found nothing. The trees stood like skeletal fingers pointing accusingly at the sky, their rustling leaves sounding like mocking laughter. It's as if the very earth conspired to keep its secrets, swallowing the man whole and leaving behind only an absence so profound it became a tangible, suffocating presence. One of the most disturbing elements I've observed in these cases is the uncanny similarity in the details. Despite the vast distances and disparate circumstances, a recurring symbol, a specific scent, a fleeting shadow that moves against the direction of the wind. These are not coincidences, They are the tendrils of something ancient and malevolent reaching out, leaving its dark signature on the tapestry of our reality. It's like finding the same dried blood stain on two different walls, separated by continents, yet undeniably the same horror. The rational mind recoils from such notions, seeking comfort in the predictable. But when the predictable fails, when the familiar world shatters like a cracked mirror, one is forced to confront the unsettling truths that lurk just beyond the edge of our vision. The rational explanation, in these instances, is not a shield. It is a blindfold, preventing us from seeing the abyss that yawns beneath our feet, a chasm of unknowable forces. Let us delve deeper into the abyss. The narrative shifts, not in its core terror, but in its manifestation. We move from the silent woods to the bustling, indifferent city, where anonymity can be both a comfort and a cloak for the unseen. Here, disappearances are often swallowed by the sheer volume of human traffic, dismissed as runaways, victims of crime, or simply people who chose to disappear. But the whispers I hear tell a different, far more sinister story. Consider the woman who vanished from her apartment, leaving behind a half-finished cup of tea, still warm, and a book open to a page, detailing ancient summoning rituals. Her door was locked from the inside. No forced entry, no witnesses, just an empty space where a vibrant life had been moments before. The air in that room, even days later, felt heavy, charged with an energy that prickled the skin, a testament to a transgression that defied all earthly logic. It was as if a piece of the room itself had been ripped away. The details that emerge from the psychic residue are often the most chilling. A fleeting image of a figure cloaked in impossible darkness, a sense of being watched by something with too many eyes, or a pervasive, unshakable feeling of dread that clings like damp grave soil. These are not imagined fears. They are the psychic fingerprints of entities that exist in the liminal spaces, drawn to moments of vulnerability and despair, feeding on the very essence of human terror. The patterns are undeniable, forming a grotesque constellation of shared experiences. The feeling of being drained, of vitality being siphoned away, even when nothing physically tangible has occurred. This is the hallmark of an energetic vampirism, a parasitic relationship with forces that are both ancient and insatiable. They do not seek blood, they seek the very spark of consciousness, the light that defines our existence, leaving behind only cold ashes. The police, bound by the chains of empirical evidence, find themselves powerless against phenomena that leave no physical trace. They look for footprints, for fingerprints, for blood, but these entities operate on a different plane, a spectral battlefield where the only casualties are sanity and soul. Their methods are subtle, insidious, leaving behind only the chilling realization that something profoundly wrong has occurred. This is where the whispers grow louder, where the shadows coalesce into forms that are barely comprehensible. They speak of gateways that open in moments of extreme emotional vulnerability, of portals that are not physical but energetic, accessible through sheer terror or an all-consuming void. These are the points of ingress, the cracks through which the otherworldly seeps into our domain. Think of the child who wandered away from a crowded beach, a bright, cheerful scene that abruptly turned into a nightmare. The parents searched, their cries of anguish swallowed by the indifferent roar of the ocean. The child was never found, yet witnesses reported seeing a peculiar shimmering distortion in the air near where the child was last seen, a brief anomaly that defied the laws of optics, like heat haze but radiating an unnatural cold. This distortion, this anomaly, is the signature of something that does not belong. It is the tear in the veil, the momentary glimpse into a reality where such things are possible. It's the breath of a cold entity, a brief intrusion of a realm that exists parallel to our own, a realm where human existence is merely sustenance. These are the moments when the boundaries blur, and the impossible becomes terrifyingly real. The rational mind struggles to process such events. It constructs elaborate theories, looking for the simplest explanation, the one that requires the least amount of disruption to the established order of the universe. But sometimes, the simplest explanation is the one we are least equipped to accept, that something truly alien, truly terrifying has reached out and taken. Now, I must speak of the lingering effects, the psychic scars left on those who have experienced these phenomena, even indirectly. The survivors, the families left behind, often carry a profound sense of unease, a feeling that they are still being watched, that the darkness has not fully retreated. It's like having a permanent chill, a constant reminder of the encounter with the unknown. This unease manifests in various ways: sleepless nights plagued by nightmares, a pervasive sense of paranoia, and an inexplicable aversion to certain places or situations. It's as if a part of them, their psychic aura, has been irrevocably tarnished, forever marked by the brush with the malevolent. They become sensitive to the subtle shifts in atmosphere, the creaking of doors that are not there, the whispers that are not spoken. They often speak of feeling a presence in their homes, a cold spot that moves, a shadow that flickers at the periphery of their vision. This is not mere imagination. It is the residual energy of the entities that have crossed over, the lingering impression of their passage. It is the scent of dried blood on the air, even when no blood has been shed. They are haunted, not by ghosts, but by the echoes of a cosmic horror that has touched their lives. This haunting is a subtle, insidious form of psychological warfare. The entities do not need to manifest fully to exert their influence. The constant, low-level dread, the gnawing uncertainty, is enough to destabilize the human psyche, to break down the barriers of sanity. It is a slow, agonizing erosion of the spirit, a testament to their patience and their terrible power. The stories continue, each one a testament to the thinness of our reality. A group of friends on a camping trip, their laughter echoing through the ancient trees. They decided to explore a cave, a place rumored to be cursed, a gaping maw in the earth that seemed to breathe an unnatural chill. Against all common sense, they ventured inside, drawn by a morbid curiosity that would prove their undoing. The entrance was narrow, but the cave opened into a vast echoing chamber, illuminated by an eerie, phosphorescent glow. They felt a strange sense of disorientation within the cave, as if time itself had become warped. One moment they were a group of 5, the next, only 4. The missing friend was gone, vanished without a sound, without a trace. The remaining friends searched frantically, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness, but found nothing. The cave offered no clues, only its silent, suffocating embrace. It was as if the earth had simply removed him. When they finally emerged, blinking in the harsh sunlight, their story was met with skepticism. The authorities conducted a thorough search of the cave, but found no evidence of foul play, no hidden passages, nothing. The cave remained an impenetrable mystery, its secrets locked away in its stony heart. The disappearances were attributed to misadventure, a tragic accident in a remote location, but the friends knew better. They had felt it. They spoke of a presence within the cave, a cold, alien intelligence that watched them, that toyed with them. They described a feeling of being observed by something ancient and utterly indifferent to their existence, something that perceived them as nothing more than fleeting shadows. It was the sensation of being an insect observed by a cosmic giant, a momentary distraction before being crushed. The psychological toll on the survivors was immense. They were plagued by guilt, by the unbearable question of what if. What if they had not gone into the cave? What if they had listened to the whispers of their intuition? These questions became a relentless torment, a psychological torture that never truly ended. They became trapped in a loop of regret and fear. their lives forever shadowed by that one fateful decision. This leads to a crucial, disturbing realization. Some doors once opened can never be fully closed. The veil once torn allows for a persistent bleed-through of energies from the other side. Those who have brushed against these forces, or worse, have had loved ones taken by them, become unwitting conduits, their very presence acting as a beacon for the extraordinary darkness. They might experience vivid dreams, fragmented visions, or an uncanny ability to sense when something is amiss. These are not gifts. They are the marks of an encounter, the psychic residue left behind. It's like finding dried blood on your hands after witnessing a horrific accident. The stain may fade, but the memory, the eye impact remains. The connection has been made, and the entities once aware of this bridge do not easily forget. This awareness is what fuels the persistent restlessness, the genuine chills that crawl up your spine when you least expect it. It is the dawning comprehension that the world you thought you knew is merely a thin veneer over something infinitely more complex and terrifying. The attraction to the unknown is not a desire for knowledge. It is the primal pull of the abyss, the morbid fascination with what lies beyond the known, a fascination that can be fatal. The stories of the missing are more than just cautionary tales. They are invitations. Invitations to acknowledge the vastness of what we do not comprehend, to face the shadows that dance at the edges of our perception. They are a reminder that we are not alone in the universe, but that the company we keep might not be benevolent, might not even be recognizable. Do you feel this dark message was meant for you? Have these echoes from the beyond resonated with a dread you already carry? The void left by a disappearance is not empty. It is teeming with unseen forces, with intelligences that operate on principles beyond our comprehension. They are the watchers in the dark, the silent predators that exist in the spaces between. Every soul that joins this circle feeds the voice that whispers from the darkness. It is an acknowledgement, a validation of the unseen, a strengthening of the resolve to face the profound mysteries that surround us. By subscribing, by liking, you are not merely engaging with content. You are becoming part of a community that dares to look into the abyss, to acknowledge its presence, and to share in the chilling knowledge that it is very real. The disappearance of a loved one is an amputation of the soul, a wound that never truly heals. The questions linger, gnawing at the edges of sanity, fueled by the absence of answers. This is where the entities thrive, in the fertile ground of despair and unanswered grief. They feed on the emotional residue, drawing strength from the very pain that consumes those left behind. It is a cycle of suffering, perpetuated by forces that operate outside the realm of human compassion. Think of the families who spend years searching, clinging to a fragile thread of hope that dwindles with each passing season. They are trapped in a temporal limbo, their lives held in suspension, waiting for a resolution that may never come. This prolonged agony is the perfect breeding ground for the entities I speak of. They do not offer solace, they prolong the torment, drawing sustenance from the endless cycle of grief. The stories are not meant to provide closure, for closure is a luxury rarely afforded in these encounters. Instead, they serve as a stark reminder of our fragility, our vulnerability, in the face of forces that operate beyond our understanding. They are warnings etched in the fabric of reality, meant to instill a healthy respect for the unknown, for the shadows that lie just beyond the threshold. When a person vanishes, it is not merely a physical loss, it is a disruption of the energetic field, a tear in the cosmic tapestry. This tear, this wound, acts as a beacon, an invitation for those who dwell in the interstitial spaces, the realms where light and shadow are indistinguishable. They are drawn to the disruption, to the sudden influx of chaotic energy that the disappearance creates, and they often do not leave without leaving their own mark. These marks are subtle, yet profound. They are the lingering chills, the recurring nightmares, the inexplicable sense of dread that can plague those who are close to the missing. It is the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes, of a cold breath on the back of the neck, even in the warmest room. These are the whispers of the void, the echoes of those who have been taken, and the silent presence of their takers. The truth is, many of us unknowingly dance on the precipice of these darker realms. We dismiss the strange occurrences, the uncanny coincidences, as mere quirks of fate. But a deep, primal part of our consciousness recognizes the patterns, the subtle signs that something more profound and disturbing is at play. It is the flicker of recognition in a nightmare, the scent of something alien in the familiar air, the chill that speaks of worlds beyond. This primal awareness is what draws us to these narratives, what ignites that spark of morbid fascination. It is the siren song of the abyss, calling to us, reminding us of the vastness of what we do not know, and the unsettling possibility that we are not the apex of existence. We are vulnerable, fragile beings, and the universe holds terrors far beyond our current comprehension. The stories of the missing are a testament to this terrifying truth. The lingering scent of something that should not be there, the inexplicable cold spots that move through a room, the shadows that seem to possess a life of their own. These are not figments of an overactive imagination. They are the echoes of transgressions, the psychic residue left behind by entities that operate on planes beyond our physical senses. They are the whispers from beyond, the evidence of a reality far stranger and more terrifying than we are willing to admit. Consider the vastness of the unknown. For every star visible in the night sky, there are countless more that remain hidden, unseen. For every known force of nature, there are countless more that defy our current understanding. Our reality is a small, illuminated island in an ocean of darkness, and the stories of the missing are glimpses into that infinite shadowy sea, where creatures of unimaginable form and intent may dwell. The persistence of these phenomena, the recurring themes across disparate disappearances, points to a deliberate pattern, an intelligence that orchestrates these events. It is not random chaos, it is a calculated harvesting, a subtle manipulation of our reality by forces that have existed long before us and will likely exist long after. They are the ancient ones, the entities that exist in the gaps, the whispers in the cosmic static, waiting for their moment. And that moment often comes when we are most vulnerable, when the boundaries of our reality are thinnest. The trauma of loss, the sheer terror of the unknown, can create an energetic rift, a gateway through which these entities can exert their influence, or worse, directly intervene. They do not seek to conquer, they seek to consume. The true horror lies not just in the disappearance itself, but in the lingering questions, the gnawing uncertainty that erodes the sanity of those left behind. It is the slow drip of dread, the constant feeling that something is fundamentally wrong, that the world has shifted on its axis, revealing a terrifying undercurrent of the macabre. This is the bread and butter of the entities that feed on our fear and despair. So, as you sit in the silence, listening to the echoes of those who are no longer here, remember this: the void is not empty. It is alive, it is watching, and it is hungry. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow that dances at the edge of your vision, could be a reminder of the thinness of the veil. A veil that once torn may never truly mend, leaving you exposed to the chilling winds from the other side. Do you feel this dark message was meant for you? Does the dread described here echo a fear you've always tried to suppress? A fear that now feels undeniably real? Share your deepest unease in the comments below. Let the darkness acknowledge you, and let us witness together the shadows that stir within your soul. Every soul that joins feeds the voice that whispers from the darkness. By subscribing and liking, you empower this narrative, you strengthen the resonance of these warnings, and you become a beacon of awareness, In a world often blinded by its own insistence on mundane explanations, your engagement is not merely an act of viewership. It is an initiation into a deeper understanding of the forces that shape our reality, forces that operate in the silence,